Hi, Andy XL back with my next daily podcast for the 2026 FIFA World Cup, and it's day 9 now. So, firstly, a quick update of Groups A and B after yesterday's action. Mexico booked their place in the last 32 and took control of Group A by beating South Korea 1-0. They now just need a draw to win the group in their final group game against the Czech Republic. Second and third place are up for grabs in this group, though. South Korea probably only need a draw against South Africa to progress, and that would also be enough for second place unless the Czechs beat Mexico. Both the Czechs and South Africa are in must win territory ahead of their final group games, although a win for either or both would take them through. So they have to win, and a win would be good enough to take them through. On to Group B. Canada took control of their game with Qatar before that game turned into an 11v9 walkover. That win makes them almost certain to be in the round of 32, and the same can be said of Switzerland following their win over Bosnia and Herzegovina. Indeed, Canada and Switzerland would both book their places with a draw when they meet in the final game. In that event, Canada will win the group and the Swiss would take second place, leaving Bosnia and Herzegovina and Qatar to play for third place, where a win for either may be enough to take them through to the round of 32. But a draw would surely see both eliminated. Apologies. These two groups are slightly disadvantaged by finishing first, as they will not know what is required to claim a best third place spot, whereas those later groups will at least know what is required of them to qualify, where it's a bit of a guessing game for the early groups. So that's my look back at yesterday and where those two groups stand. Let's move on to today. First game of the day will be USA versus Australia. These two teams started Group D with a win, so if either wins this one, they will only need a draw in their final game to proceed to the round of 32 as group winners. USA were expected to beat Paraguay, but did so in very impressive fashion. But whilst it is no surprise that the Americans are going overboard, talking about their boys as the team to beat in this competition, which is quite frankly ridiculous, they do have to be respected as a potential danger to many of the more fancied teams after their impressive first game performance. So for me, the USA should be viewed as good hosts, potential spoilers, but still very little chance of winning it all. Moving on, the Aussies got a surprise win over Turkey. That leaves them well placed in the group, but if offered a draw ahead of this game, would surely jump at the opportunity to take it, as that would ensure their place in the knockout stages. Pre-tournament, I would have said the US had the better squad, and they were the more impressive winners of these two in their opening games. These two actually met in a friendly last November, with the US coming out on top 2-1. So I'm going to take the US to speed up their hype train with another win here by a scoreline of 3-1 this time. Second game of the day is a big one for us in the UK, particularly north of the border. Scotland v Morocco. Scotland did what they needed to do by beating Haiti first up, but it was hardly impressive. And with just a +1 goal difference and two very good teams left to play, they need to up their game if they are to make it through to the round of 32. Morocco drew with Brazil, but were probably the better team in that game, so have to come into this game as good favourites. Being underdogs generally suits the Scots more than being favourites, and they would love to get a draw here that ensure they play more than 3 games in this tournament. Morocco are on a streak of over 20 games without losing, so it is hard to see them losing this one. And I think they will get the wins that they need to push them to win this group. Morocco to win 2-1 in this game, and they may find it tougher than many expect, though. Right, the other game in this group will be Brazil versus Haiti. After a disappointing performance to some degree against Morocco, Brazil need to put on a show against the Haitians. Anything less than 3 or 4-0 would be subpar, and they may need that sort of scoreline or better if they are to top the group ahead of Morocco. I'm going to take Brazil to win 4-0, as they surely have just too much star power not to overwhelm their opponents here. And whether that will be enough to win the group, we'll have to wait and see as what Morocco have done against Scotland and then what they do against Haiti. And indeed what Brazil do against Scotland in the final game. But 3 or 4-0 is the minimum of what they need, and I'm going to take them to get a 4-0 win. Final game of the day will be Turkey versus Paraguay. With both teams losing by more than 1 goal in their opening game, a loss here would leave them a lot of work to do in their final game. especially the Turks as they face the USA in their fight in their final group game. As long as the Turks do not implode in terms of team morale and spirit, I see them as the better team here, and they should come out on top. But I think their confidence would have been knocked by that first game, and like I say, whether they're all going to be singing on the same sheet or whether there's some discontent in the camp after that disappointing performance, we'll wait and see. So I think this could be a close one. Both teams have defensive frailties, so I think there might be goals in this game. But I'm going to take Turkey to win this one 3-2 in a thriller. So that's it for day 9. I'll come back tomorrow and have a look at how those two groups now stand after these games, and I look forward to day 10. And also coming up tomorrow, after the dust has settled, I'm going to have a look back, being English based. I'll have a look back at England's first game and go through their performances player by player and as a collective unit and what it tells us about their prospects going forward. So I'll bring that one out tomorrow as well. See you later.